That's our team.
You don't have to always have $1 million, but you can't have no bucks. And you don't have to do everything around the house, but you have to be able to do some things around the house.
Yes.
I can't just
agree.
meet. I can't have one and the other. We have to meet in the middle.
To balance. That's
Well,
a tall
the
order
flip
though
side of the
nowadays.
coin is that
Trying
if I made the money and if I was bringing it in like some men or I made it and I was okay with it and he was confident with it, it could possibly work.
So you're talking about a stay-at-home husband.
A stay-at-home husband, yeah.
You could go for
If
that.
I was making that type
So
of
let's say if you had
fair.
if you were a female boss and you had the dollars and the money from your end wasn't an issue, could you have a stay-at-home husband?
That's the only way.
Candy said she could. Joy said yes. Who else?
I don't think he would be able to survive. I think he would still.
Yeah.
It takes away his manhood.
I think it's not good.
It takes away his manhood.
Yes.
But
And then I will start not liking him.
You can
I just need a manly man. The manly man works.
because
The only reason why I'm saying yes to that, I'm thinking now, as I'm reaching back to the men in my life. They're retired. They're at home. They're doing nothing all day because they at one point did work.
Yeah.
Have income coming.
And they got income, but just say they didn't. Just say they're older now, but they're at home. But they're doing other things.
They're doing retirement sort of thing.
Like a retirement older is different.
Yeah.
They still at home getting on your damn nerves.
I mean, but he's worked his whole life.
He did. As you're dating, and you can qualify if they're deal breakers or not for you. So the young lady that was on the video, I mean, we don't know the other side of the coin.
What? What do you mean?
Meaning that is she the breadwinner?
Sounds like she can afford.
If she's the breadwinner and she's happy with it, I'm happy for you.
Right.
So you're good with it if it works in your relationship.
If it works in your relationship.
But I don't think all women are okay with it, just like I don't know if all men. Somehow it sounds nice to be the stay-at-home husband. Who saw that movie? There was a movie. I just saw it.
With the white, she had her own clothing business.
Yes, I just saw
Joy.
that. What's the name of that movie?
Joy. Not the inventor.
No, she had the clothing line, and he was at home, and he eventually had an affair. He stepped out.
So that's what I was going to say. That was going to make.
It's
He's going to take
coming.
the song next door.
What is it? The Intern.
And he's going to be over there.
It was called The Intern.
He's going to be next door with the song.
My husband worked all day, and he was really busy. I would probably cheat.
Would you? That's interesting.
I don't desire to cheat.
So you need something to do, occupy your time.
That's something to do with my hands.
So I don't know if all men think like that. Now, interesting, I think that in that movie, The Intern, it was a question of her feeling like I got to find somebody to replace me so I could be at home because my husband stepped out. And the character, whoever the guy's name was, Robert De Niro played, was like, listen, it's not your fault because you're working that your husband cheated. But he didn't seem like he had a problem with the stay-at-home dad role at all. I wonder, does that work for African-American women?
It could.
Would that be a thought in your mind?
It could, and if it didn't, if your friends had something to say about it, they don't live in your home. You have to learn how to tune out your friends if it's working for you. And as women, sometimes we listen too much to other women. If you can listen, we do need our friends. We definitely need our friends. We need our friendships. But you take the part that's good, that's going to work for you, and the part that's not, you just say that's not going to work for me. That may work for your relationship, but it's not going to work.
So what happens if he starts off and he's working though, and then he loses his job?
So then you have like
You need prayer because he needs to get another job, or your relationship is going.
Because that that's a little bit more realistic. Say that. I mean, I know we got humor in that video. It was funny as hell. But the reality is there's some men. They lose their jobs, they get downsized, they are without, they're transitioning. So we have to carry the load.
for 6 months. Been
there.
That's it.
So you're saying you're giving them a time. Is that realistic,
time.
Pinterest?
I think so.
It's not real.
To be honest with you, it's like, even if they don't find work, they can go out there and create work. They can create something. You know, it's not like, oh, okay, well, every day I'm waking up.
So is that a deal breaker? You love this man. You have children. You've built a home. He either by default or by choice.
I don't know.
By default or by choice, he loses it. But I even know a situation where it wasn't that he lost it. He said, I need to follow my passion, and it's music, and it ain't bringing in the same kind of money that the 9 to 5.
And that's fine. Right. I actually went through that, where it was lost a job, that career that he was on for however many years. Okay, I'm gonna be supportive. I'm gonna caress your back and all that stuff. But no, I'm not saying it's 6 months. But if you are actively looking for something or trying to do something else, then I'm going to support that. But if you sitting around and you moping around and you have all of these excuses of why you can't find a job, now that's something different.
But what if the job then becomes his dream job? It's, I'm playing and I'm a musician, or I'm this artsy person and I know it's not making money now.
I can encourage that.
But what's your plan? So you have to have a plan. Yeah. So if that's what you want to do, what's the plan? So say you lost your job a year or 2 years or 3 years. What's your 1 year, 2 year, 3 year plan? If you working toward that plan, then I'm supportive of that. But if it's somebody that's not doing anything and they just say, oh, I'm a musician, and it doesn't make sense to me, like, how are you going to make money being a musician?
Are you riding him, ladies, at this point?
No. It's like,
So is it 6 months I'm riding you?
No.
It's more so like, you still have to kind of put the pressure on, like, me waking up, going to work, and I'm seeing you just still laying in the bed. That's not going to happen. So you don't have to get up to let me see that you're at least motivated to kind of like get back on track. Because of course we know how some men are. If they lose their job, if they lose certain things, they're like, oh my God, it's devastating. They fall into certain depressions. Of course I will be there. I will hold your hand. I will try to lift you up. But I'm not going to be to the point where I'm trying to lift you up where I'm breaking down.
How long?
So there's a balance.
How long do you keep with that? Because Candy said deal breakers, right? I mean, you talked about deal breakers. I remember going, before I got married, the deal breakers was a huge thing. You got to have your deal breakers because before you need to know your deal breakers before you get into it, because, it's hard to make a decision, right? So you have 3 or 4 deal breakers. Is the deal breaker you lose the job and now I have to support you? Is that a deal breaker? Are you walking out?
No.
So it's not a deal breaker. Is it a time after a year?
Not even, I wouldn't even say I just have to see like the progression. I have to see the passion.
Right.
Like, is there a passion there? Do you have a plan?
Okay.
If there's no plan, then it's not going to work.
You can have a dream and still have finances coming in. You don't have to be rich, but you have to have something.
So what if he says, I'm choosing a dream over the finances? Are you done with the relationship?
So what exactly is your dream?
Depends on how realistic. Is it a tax me?
Yeah, I mean, okay. So is your dream has to be
realistic?
Yeah, it has to be a realistic
who's
dream.
mine though?
Because I'm the one.
But then it should be okay for me to say. It should be then okay for me to say, okay, well, this is not what we talked about.
See,
this
goes back
was
to
not our
communication, like Candy
plan.
was
This
saying.
was not the plan we discussed. So I think you can go ahead with your dream, and that's okay. And I'm gonna go over here and do what I said.
So you're gonna give up on the love and all that you've built together?
Yes.
Delicious.
Yes.
She's
love
cold.
Love isn't always nice. Love is truthful.
And you know what? For me, that's like real. This is exactly what I'm going through right now. Realistically, like that's your dream.
Real talk.
Okay, so I'm talking like real talk.
Real talk.
Yeah.
Yeah, because some of your dreams
real
is
talk-
invested in like your finances.
Because
so
his
you're
dream
pulling.
may stop
You're not sometimes
Exactly.
like
Financial
contributing to the bank account. You're pulling because you have to build a dream.
Yeah.
So it's just it's a like I say it's a balance, but it's also you have to determine what. Was this brought to us before we got married or somewhere in the loop of us like meeting, when we first got introduced to this relationship, or is this something that you just like, okay, this is what I've always dreamed after you lost your job? I wasn't a part of that dream though.
So, and I think, but that's the real talk is that we can't always control everything, how our life unfolds, right? So he loses the job. I got to figure out if I can't get a new job in my field. I've always wanted to do this. I'm going to explore that. There's this negotiation that goes along with partners, right? So sometimes the negotiation happens before, sometimes it's during. Right. And so at what point are we going to stay in it? And I'll give you something, an example that for women, I've always had long hair. I decided I want to chop off my hair. And you fell in love with the long head chick. Now I want to go bald, right? You fell in love with the voluptuous chick. Now all of a sudden I'm about to drop these 30 pounds. So this is real.
That's
so
real.
Right, this is real. Now you're giving me. So we didn't negotiate that. I didn't come to you and say I don't want my long hair. I didn't come to you. And I'm saying for my man, he's got to. I want him to accept it. I want him to be okay with it. Where do we? I don't want to say it's a double standard, but it sounds like it.
Well, we have to adapt.
We do. We have to adapt.
We have to be resilient and we have to adapt. I mean, if he loses his job, then we need to be able to function as a partnership and figure out how this is going to work together for the family, because this is your dream, but you still have a family.
Yes.
And you need to incorporate your family and how that works in your dream.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you're going to lose your family.
But sometimes what the problem I have with that, L, and it's not for women, is you got some men that don't really give a fuck, because that becomes that whole self-centered, it's about me. And I don't know if it's an age thing.
That's how they're.
I hear that it's an age thing.
I think it can be either or. It all depends on the individual.
Yeah, but so like, let's say we go into it and everything is fine, but then I think it hits a place. And it could be that man who feels. We talked earlier with the other group about rule breakers and rule obligers, right? I think men go through the same thing. All my life, I have followed the rules. And this shit has not paid off. Now, this is my opportunity to do what I want to do.
Right.
So I hear you, but I'm about to do this. Now, that can apply to a career, a passion, a woman. This family shit was all good because my mama and daddy were married for 50 years and I was with it. And I met you and you fit the bill, but I ain't with it no more. And so that's the reality. And I'm saying as women, where do we figure? Are we going to stay and ride it because I love you?
No.
Or did I love that?
No, we have to go.
I love you.
Right.
But if people need to be honest, we need to go.
Yeah.
We have to go.
Yeah.
You gotta go.
I have to. I'm like turning 40, and I just feel like no. No. If that's what you want to do, if we've come to because I might feel that same way.
Yeah.
And I do right now. I do in my life. I feel like nope. I'm going to do me. Yeah. I'm going to do me. I'm tired of just doing you.
Yeah.
Now
I'm no longer wanting to be the rule obliger. I'm about to be the rule breaker.
I've broken rules.
Yes.
You know, all the rules that people tell you not to do, I have broken almost all of them recently.
Yeah.
And I just...
Which is great. No, it really is.
And it's enlightening and because it's bringing me into myself.
Yes. Yeah, because for so long I did a lot of women, but even what Divalicious is saying about, nope, it ain't working, I'm good. You do your dream, I'm gonna go, because you have a lot of women, they don't have that as a deal breaker, they don't know that boundary, and they just hold on, and they stay, and they're frustrated, so they call you and you and you and you,
and talk about it,
and they're unwilling to break the rule, which is, I'm out of here.
And I was that person too.
Yeah,
hold on, because I'm believing that somebody's going to be what I want them to be.
Yes.
And then I realized, no, they are who they are, and it wasn't them that changed; it was me.
Oh wow! Look at there. That's now that's enlightening. Now, when you get to the point where it's not
going
even
through this cycle, you like, okay, we talking about the same thing every week, every day. Like, when
they
you
want
stop
you to
talking
be the
about the same thing.
Yeah.
So if you keep talking, but you keep cycling back to the same conversation, it's like it's stressful talking about the same thing over and over.
Yeah. Can we get some new shit to talk about?
Right.
Yeah.
Or they want you to be the same person you used to be.
Right. But that's evolution, right? We all change.
Absolutely.
I need you to be smart enough to know that, dude. We all changed. I had short hair when I met you, but I like long hair today. You weren't bald when I met you. Can you bring your hair back?
You didn't have a gut that you have now.
That part.
Right.
Yeah.
That physical part, that like I was in a relationship and I remember